Hello guys, welcome back to a new video and to a new backtesting session. So it's been some time since I did a backtesting video, and I think it's about time for another one, right? This time I'm gonna try to actually take a lot of trades so you can see the reality of a certain trading strategy or an edge. We're gonna take losers and winners, break-evens, right? And we're gonna see at the end if we're gonna come up profitable or not. And also you're gonna see how simple my strategy is and how identical all my setups are. Now before we start, of course we're gonna use FX replay for this, and I'm gonna choose a random day from here. But a few ground rules before we start. First of all, you're gonna see me skip a lot of price action. So I don't participate in every single price leg. I will take only the trades that it is so obvious where price is trying to go, right? All you have to do is just click that buy or sell button. I managed to make my system gives me only those kind of trades. Now of course, we're not gonna have a really high win rate or anything like that. I have around 55% win rate at good days, and it can go all the way down to 44% in bad days. But my average gain per trade is 2R, or gain per winner. It's 2R this time, not 1R like I used to be, or 1.5R that I used for a couple of months. So it is 2R right now. And let's not waste any more time, let's get started. All right, so first of all, let's choose a random day from here. And before we start, I'm not gonna trade days like these. All right, I have a trend following strategy. You will see that it is so easy, but it requires patience, so you won't trade days like these. I want a clean directional move, something like this, like this, like this, not like this. All right, so let's choose a random day from here. Let's go to March. All right, beautiful. I accidentally clicked the control button, but let me drag it to here. So it's gonna be this one, a recent date. So before we start, you're gonna see me that I'm not gonna do a commentary on price on every price leg. No, I'm gonna keep forward price, and when I see a setup, I'm gonna stop before I take it. I'm gonna give you my why of why I'm taking this trade, and you're gonna see the result of it, and we move on to the next trade. This way I'm gonna take as many trades as I can, and you can learn how I see price and my simple strategy. So on the left I have the 15 seconds, and on the right, or I'm sorry, on the right I have the 15 second, and on the left I have the 1 minute. This is my intermediate time frame. This is what I look for in terms of a clean move, and then I'm gonna look here to enter. So this is my entry pattern here, and to validate the entry pattern we're gonna use the 1 hour as my higher time frame, right? So let's get started. Let's go to next day open. Actually we started from Friday, that's all right. Sometimes or some days we're not gonna have trades, so just a heads up. All right, let's move on to 10:30. All right, we might have something here. Let me go back to the 1 minute. We have a sweep here. We return back. All right, we broke this. So this might be a nice opportunity to long. We still might dip to this imbalance. The higher time frame agrees on this move. So it does look like a high probability move, but again, I usually have a 50% win rate, so we can definitely lose this one. Again, we're gonna focus at the end results. All right, let's see what we have here. All right, you might reduce the stop loss a bit. Let's put it here. We don't need to take the full loss. We're gonna go break even soon. I would say somewhere around here. All right, let's go break even now. Price took too long, and let's see. All right, first trade is a winner. That's 2R. You can see that I didn't put my stop loss here. I usually did, but if you watch my previous videos, I found out that there's no need to put it all the way to here. Most of my trades, if they go below this point, they will go to this point right here. All right. Some of them will actually go all the way to here and then reverse, but I don't need them. There are only few, so I prefer to reduce it and take a bigger R, right? So let's move on to the next trades. Of course, the logic behind the first one, and you can see that it is identical to all the upcoming trades. So you can see that we have a clean move to the upside, right? Clean directional move. I was actually looking to take this, we didn't have anything, and then price reverse, and we have this clean move to the upside, and I found that my entry pattern is here. All right, we basically swept the low, and then we broke something to the upside. We can see it also here. All right, and then the last step is the confirmation from the higher time frame, and this one does look like we're just sweeping here, and the next target should be this one here. All right, we should trade to it, this line, and you can see that from a bigger picture we are basically doing this. So that's the logic of this trade and of all the upcoming trades. Simple, right? Alright, so that's the previous hourly high after we took the previous hourly low. Alright, let's continue. Let's remove everything. You can see from here, there are some people that they're gonna see this as a break of structure. Alright, they say alright sweep and then the break of structure. But notice the imbalance on the 1 minute here. It is pushing price constantly, and when I see this, I don't consider this as a break of structure, and also don't consider the break and the close above this imbalance as a break of structure. I want to see close above this 1 minute imbalance. Alright, price can easily close above this one on the 15-second, and it doesn't close above here, and the result is as follows. So I don't like this price action. I need a directional move. Let's forward price. Alright, price left without us here, unfortunately. I'm gonna have to move this. But this was a good trade. Although Although we didn't get topped, let's see what's gonna happen. You might get another chance. So basically the 1 hour was pointing to the downside here. We traded to here, to that zone, right? And we rejected from it. I was expecting maybe a move to the upside, even if this is only a short-term rejection. We might get a move to this wick right here. Let's remove this to the wick, right? And I was capitalizing on that. Let's go back to the 1 minute. This might be a potential opportunity. The 1 hour agrees on this. Let's see if we're gonna get a retracement. When I say a good opportunity, what I mean is that it follows the rules. I don't know if it's a winner or a loser. Alright? Alright, let's reduce the stop loss just a little bit. Again, we don't need to take the full loss here, because this reduction after we see price goes in your favor. They can play a big role when you take a lot of trades. Alright, you can see that we took a reduced stop loss instead of the full loss. But this is really good. Let's continue. There's still a chance to trade to the upside. This might be just a deeper pullback. Let's take another trade from here. Alright, a break even now. And alright, beautiful, that's a win. That's another win. Now we took 3 trades for now. A reduced stop loss and 2 wins. Alright, let's move on. So the logic of this trade, you can see that it is quite obvious, just like the previous ones. On this side I want to see clean direction, alright, and on this side I want to see the entry pattern. Sometimes the entry pattern can be seen on both, or sometimes I use this as entry, but I wanted to take this one right here, but price wanted a deeper pullback. The 1 hour still the same. You can see that we printed this. If I'm expecting the hourly candle to be bullish, I'm expecting the wick first, and this is the wick, and now this is the expansion. That was the target. Beautiful. And overall we are bullish, but still we can take both shorts and longs. Alright, now let's continue to the next day. I know this might be a boring session, guys, but if your backtesting sessions aren't like this, then you're doing it wrong. It's supposed to be boring and dull, alright? Not exciting. Backtesting is not exciting. This is collecting data, and this is training your mind to be calm and to not seek excitement in live trading, because a lot of times we ruin our plan, our trading, by simply not being able to sit still and just watch price calmly without doing anything stupid or without doing anything at all. Just sit there and just wait for price to come to you and not the other way around. All right. So backtesting environment is a good place to train your mind to not seek excitement. All right, let's go to 10:30 as always. So for example, if I see price just keep going here or keep returning back to the range and so on, I don't take the trade. I want to see a break either here and trade in a clean direction, or down here and trade in a clean direction. Easy, right? You can do this as a visual aid, right? So you don't force yourself to take trades. All these moves are irrelevant to me. Like this. I want to see break and then continuing to break. So far, still in a range. If you can see the time below, you can see that this is what, 2 hours past. So can you sit still for 2 hours without doing anything stupid? Because if you have a trend following strategy, you're gonna get cooked here. So you just wait. So no trades today. Is this a bank holiday or something? Because there is no volatility here. And if you go to the daily, you're gonna see something really beautiful. Compare this day with the previous one. You can see how small this one is. You can see that here we have a big expansion to the downside and then reversing. But you can see here that we were pretty much at the same range, alright? So you don't have to trade every single day if you have a decent risk per trade. This looks like a decent trade, but we don't have a lot of room. This is the previous major hourly low, and if you're gonna take this, I'm gonna have to go break even here, so I already in the trade. Alright, I need to go break even here because I'm expecting some kind of a reaction from here, and if not, we're gonna continue to take this. Yeah, that's a reaction I'm expecting, and I did a whole video about this. You can check my recent video and tell me if this is hindsight. I already spoke about this. Alright, let's remove this. Let's continue. So basically, if you didn't watch my previous video, or you want to know now, I said that if your higher time frame takes a high or a low and you are in a trade just like this one, you take a trade near that low or near that high, or you want to take a trade when price already tapped into an hourly low, hourly high. Of course, this is dependent on your higher time frame. You simply close a trade, or you don't take the trade if you didn't yet, because always expect a reaction when price takes a higher time frame high or a low. That reaction might be very small on the higher time frame. This one is quite big, but sometimes it's just small reaction. Let me look for an example. something like, I don't know, maybe this. You can see small reaction to the downside, and then we continue. But 90% of the time we're gonna see a reaction, and that reaction is gonna be quite big on the lower time frame, like here. This is a setup that I would take. It follows my rules. Again, whether it's gonna be a winner or a loser, I have absolutely no idea. We need to reduce the stop loss here, all the way to here. We swept this, we couldn't close above this. This is not a good sign. And wait, let's see how this candle closes. Alright, yeah, we go break even now. So for example, if I see a sweep here, right, I want to see closure here, but we have a sweep. I want to see how price close here, for example at this candle. If we close below this, I'm gonna close a trade. Alright, because that's a break of structure in the lower time frame. In the lower time frame we have a sweep and we have a break of structure. You don't want to stay on this trade, but you can see that we don't have that now, and we have another push, and it gave us the opportunity to go break even here. Alright, so now we took break even. So that's how I manage my trades, without emotions and based on logic. So this is not just a backtesting session to show you how I execute I show you my strategy in a whole, but also how I manage my trades. That's an edge on itself. You might see that, alright, this one went to profit and to TP afterward, but you don't look or you don't judge on a trade per trade basis, because I have hundreds and hundreds of trades that proves that the approach that I used is gonna be the best one for the long run. Alright, so let's continue. This also can be another opportunity. Let's see. Alright, we should reduce the stop loss here. Now we go break even. That's almost a TP. Almost a TP. That's alright. Break even. We go to the next one. We have another opportunity. Here we go from here. Alright, let's see how this one will work. We might take a loser, and we might take a winner. Let me reduce stop loss again, all the way to here. reduce stop loss once again. And this one is gonna be TP, I guess. And the TP is at the all-time, or I'm sorry, the previous major hourly high. Yeah, beautiful. That's another 2R. So let's remove this and let's continue trading. Alright, we might take a last trade. We did, I can't remember, did we start on the, yeah, Friday. That was the start of this backtesting session. But let's continue. We might take one more because this is getting really long. One of the reasons is that I talk very slowly, so I apologize for that. This is a chance, but I have a filter that says this was imbalance. We swept this, closed below or above it, but I don't want to see this. Alright, I want to see this. And I want to see this high sweeping this. I want to see either this or this one is closing below this one. Again, this one, this filter that I just used, it saved me a lot and a lot of losses. 70% of the times my trade won't work because of this, my specific trade. Alright. We might have an opportunity here. But what about the hourly? You can see that the hourly didn't create the low yet. If I'm expecting a bullish setup, I want to see price creating the wick. A wick like this first. You can see that every bullish candle has a wick, but some of them doesn't, like this one. But I'm gonna go with the majority and I'm not gonna take this trade. You can see this one didn't work. And also one of the filters is that we actually have two filters here. I didn't really pay attention to them because one of them missed the others, which is the open, high, low and close. Right, the concept. I talked about this in my previous video. Please go watch it, guys. You're gonna take a lot of value from it. Another filter is the top of this EMA. Another filter is that we took this previous major high and we're expecting a reaction from it, and we already did. You can see this reaction. Sometimes we go in a consolidation, sometimes we do a rejection like this, sometimes all reversal, but you don't want to take this. This is just gambling, alright? Alright, let's go to next day open. Didn't like anything here, right? And let's take one more trade and we close the session. This is all not worth it for me, right? You can see this is very difficult to trade. I mean, you can see it as a channel, right? So for channel traders, this is actually easy environment. But if you're trying to trade with surgical stop losses like mine, this one you're gonna get cooked in it. No, I didn't like anything today. This is not my cup of tea. If we go to the daily, again, you can see that my system didn't generate a signal here also. Just like we didn't trade here during Monday, you can see that we have an indecisive candle, right? And here we took some trades and we had a lot of opportunities, but here indecisive candle, right? Small range day. Again, the system didn't generate any signals, and this is what you want to have, a system that reduces the number of false signals. Let's go to next day open and see what we have. Alright, so I want to take this trade, but the hourly doesn't really agree on it. It has absolutely no logic in my opinion, in my perspective. So I'm simply not gonna take it. We're just gonna watch it. Even it can easily work, but for me, it's not worth it. It's better to wait for better ones. Alright, this might be the last trade of the day. So let's see the output. Alright. Let's manage it together and see what we have. Let's reduce the stop loss just a little bit to here. No need to micromanage it. Alright, a stop loss to end the day. So you can see that we took the partial loss and we continue to take the full loss. Alright. This is why managing the trade and ensuring that you don't take the full loss, this will add up in the long run, and the average gain per trade is also going to increase. So if you take a look at the analytics, we didn't take a lot of trades, most of them were, alright, 8 trades. That's actually a decent number. 3 break even, alright. Break-even trades are also trades. You'll learn something from them. 3 winners, 2 losers, and this is 3. We basically took 1.7 or 1.8% per win, so we're using 2R. So we had a total of 4.5 or something like that, and this is exactly how I trade on live trading. This is exactly how I manage my trades, how I reduce the stop loss, what to look for on the higher time frame, what to look for on the entry time frame, and most importantly what to look for in the intermediate time frame to know what kind of environment I should participate in. Everything has a system, has a process, and it is repeatable and also simple. We don't have a lot of moving parts. So I believe that this is the end of this backtesting session, and if you have any other questions, you can always DM me in my Twitter account, or you can leave a comment down below and I'll answer you as soon as I can. Now happy trading and good luck.